Alright guys, Joel with Precision Rifle Network. Now sometimes I go back to the pistol because it's all about fieldcraft. It's all about understanding all the different weapon systems that you might have to use. Now some things you don't know about me is maybe you don't know I used to be in law enforcement and all the various trainings that I've taken as a result of being a part of that, and that I was a pistol instructor for 10 years. So a pistol is something that I know how to run and it's something I know a little bit about. And occasionally I'll get back out to the range and put some rounds through a new gun. And this is my first shots with the P365XL Spectre comp. Here we go. So I have this test that I put every new gun through. I come out to the range and I fire 200 rounds through that gun pretty much as fast as I can. Now I'll take time to, make sure, especially with a red dot like this on top, that I'm zeroing that in as I go, but I put 200 rounds through. And if I get any malfunctions whatsoever in that first 200 rounds, I will sell this gun. No questions asked, it's gone. Because if I'm going to carry this concealed, it has to run. It has to run in all kinds of conditions. It has to run with all kinds of ammo. So yeah, that's just my test. I love it or hate it, but I do that. So right now I'm gonna zero up the Holosun here, and I've got the HS 507K X2. And one thing I really like about this little guy, besides the fact that it is tiny for a small pistol, is that it mounts in front here on the rail of the Spectre comp. It mounts in front of the rear sight. It actually retains the rear sight and it co-witnesses, so that's really kind of cool. So that would technically be a malfunction. I pulled the trigger and it went click, but it was on an empty magazine and on an empty chamber. So magazine, or the slide, did not lock to the rear. It could have been my big fat thumbs up here actually pressing down on the slide stop. Could have been. I'm going to test that real quick and just see with the next mag. So that wasn't necessarily like a bad malfunction. We'll see what happens with the next mag here. I'll try to ride my thumbs out just a little bit different, or just a tiny bit lower right there, and just see what we get. I got a big hand. This is a small gun. See how it goes. And it locked back that time. I think my thumb was just riding on that, so I'll pay attention to it as I go forward. I'm not really counting that as a malfunction here yet until it happens a couple of times in a row. So far, everything's good. So I think I've got the red dot dialed in now. This range in particular, I'm the only one out here, so I could move up technically, but the rules state that I'm not supposed to go in front of the firing line. Just want to be a good rule keeper, a safe rule keeper, so I'm standing back at the 25-yard line, zeroing in this red dot, which I think is too far for this type of a pistol. I would normally probably zero a red dot like this at say 10 or 15 yards, which is probably close to the max distance that I would use this. In fact, I would think inside of 7 yards would be where most engagements would happen, and I would want it to be dialed into that. Now the difference between the offset between say 15 yards and 7 yards is going to be negligible when you're talking about a defensive pistol. But anyway, I'm zeroing it at 25, and I've got a pie plate down there, and these shots, there were a few out and about, so I'm not talking about entire group, but I'm probably getting about a 4 or 5 inch group here at 25 yards for the bulk of the shots that I'm taking. Something else to think about I'm not talking about me in those terms. I'm saying the gun seems capable for a short little barrel. My first time running it, to get a 4 or 5 inch group at 25 yards is very acceptable to me on a pistol. I'm sure there's a lot of guys who can shoot better than that, but I'm pleased with it so far. The Holosun optic, I'm very pleased with that, man. You don't even notice it. Sometimes these things are heavy enough you can really feel some of that weight. You don't notice it at all with this. Now I do have the P365, just standard, shorter barrel, first gen, in my bag here. I'm going to switch to that in a little bit here, and we're going to just compare the felt recoil between that one and the XL with the compensator here, just to see how it feels. You know, I've heard anywhere from like a 25 to 35% decrease in felt recoil or muzzle flip because of the compensator. I don't have any way to measure that for you guys, so I'm just going to be based on my feel. But another tip that I just wanted to throw in there, that, you know, pistol fundamentals are really no different than rifle fundamentals, right? Sight alignment, sight picture, breathing control, trigger press, follow through, recovery. All those things are basically exactly the same. We still need to square up, you know. One thing that you just want to understand is that in the midst of a dynamic critical incident like a gunfight, your body tends to square up to a threat. Your shoulders rise to protect your neck, your hands come out and press away danger, kind of like this. You've seen this in you know, car accidents and things like that. People will flinch and they kind of end up in one of these positions, right? You're squared up to the threat, your hands come up in front of your face to protect you from the threat. So why then, if this is the position you're going to be in when you're threatened, would you then go like this with a pistol? That makes no sense whatsoever. So square your body up to your target, right? Get your pistol in your sight alignment, sight picture initially, press it out, punch it out in that sight picture, pick up your sights. So first 10 rounds are going to be out of the Gen 1 P365 standard, and then I'm going to go back to the XL Spectre comp, and maybe we'll be able to see a recoil difference. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens on the video, but that's what we're going to do. And now the Spectre. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it on video, but you can definitely feel it. Spectre comp with the compensator absolutely has a reduction in recoil. Absolutely. That was actually more than I thought it would be. It's noticeable. It's not like extremely noticeable. It's not like running a bare muzzle on your bolt action 308 and then putting a 4-port muzzle brake on it and feeling that difference. It's not like that significant, but it's significant. Yeah, that was cool. I mean, I don't know. I really don't have anything else. You're getting the raw whatever, like my first reaction here, because it's the first time I've done that test comparing between the two. It's noticeable. You feel it. Your ability to keep the sights on the target, just that those follow-up shots, I feel like you'd be able to be faster. Now that could be just a factor of iron sights versus red dot, but it was noticeable in the felt recoil between the two. So I don't know what to say about that. So that malfunction, just want to make sure everybody saw that. So now I've been through about 225 rounds, and that was, it hit the primer and did not send the round. So that was not the firearm's fault, that was the ammunition's fault. So there you go. Can't count that one either. Okay, so my final thoughts on the Sig P365XL Spectre comp. I don't have this planned, guys. I just want to say that right now. I'm not being paid by these guys for any way, shape, or form. You're getting my initial reactions to this pistol. This is the first time I've brought it out and shot it. As I said at the start, I always put 200 rounds through a pistol right out of the gate, and if it malfunctions at all, that was the fault of the gun, then I sell the gun immediately, because I can't depend my life on a concealed carry gun that is finicky or that fails or malfunctions at the worst possible time, right? So so this had two malfunctions. Neither of those malfunctions was the fault of the gun. The first time was a failure of the slide to lock back on an empty magazine. And the reason was because I had my fat thumb pressing up against the slide stop, and I tested that with a few more rounds, with a few more magazines rather, keeping my thumbs out of the way off the slide, and it never did it again. So that was number one. That was the fault of me, not the gun. So that was first one. Second one was a failure to fire. Click and no bang. And I ejected that round because I felt it go in. I knew it was in there. So I ejected that round and looked at it, and striker actually hit the primer very deep, like deep enough to set it off. You know, it wasn't like a light strike or anything like that. So that again was not the fault of the pistol. That was a fault of that particular round kind of being a dud, for lack of better terms, right? So those two were not the fault of the gun. So I went to about 220-ish rounds through it today with no malfunctions of any kind that were its own fault. So trustworthy, reliable pistol, in my opinion. I can easily say that. I would absolutely carry this every day for concealed carry. Now onto the stuff that you kind of want to know about, right? And that's maybe the difference between this and the standard or stock P365. I did shoot my standard first gen short barrel P365. I did just one magazine to compare the difference between the felt recoil of that versus this, and it's noticeable, the reduction in recoil with the compensated version. So for the people out there that are like, yeah, but does that actually work, and is the Spectre comp, you know, the custom shop model, worth that extra money? Like the difference, it's like twice the price, right? These are $1,000 to $1,200 compared to $500 or $600 for that. You know, to me, the features that you get, the ability to put a red dot on here that retains your original factory iron sights, and it's you can co-witness, that's a big thing. The compensated slide here, it helps. I don't know how much it reduces recoil, but it's noticeable. You can feel it. So for me, that translates into faster follow-up shots, and I can stay on my sights a little bit better, a little faster. Now again, that could be a factor of red dot versus irons, possible, but you can definitely feel the recoil reduction with the compensator, so I guess I'll say that. I really like the stippling on the grip. It's aggressive, but not overly so. It's not chewing up your hand. You know, the grip being slightly longer, I actually don't need, you know, so the magazines don't have like an extended finger for like your pinky, a grip for your pinky on the bottom, whereas the mags on the standard P365, I had to add that pinky addition down on the bottom in order to be able to get a full grip. This grip on the XL is slightly longer, and so I don't have to add any of that. I don't get that weird little, you know, angular thing for my pinky that sometimes digs into your, I carry appendix, and so sometimes that kind of digs into your stomach because that thing's sticking out. It's just an uncomfortable point. This eliminates that, so I like that. You know, on the Spectre comp, you do get the nicer kind of gold, the nitride finish on the barrel and on the trigger, and the trigger is supposed to be better. Now, I've significantly broken in my P365, and so to me, the trigger on that is amazing, right? I've had hundreds and hundreds of rounds through that pistol on the range, and that trigger feels sweet, nice and smooth, and everything. There's nothing wrong with this trigger. It just needs to be broken in some more. It's actually very smooth. It's a flat chew that's at a good angle, so I can get good purchase on it. I can get a nice trigger press initially, and then on the reset, everything just lines up. It feels good. Big, oversized, bright front dot on here, bright green. Night sights on the rear. Man, I'm really pretty impressed with it. To me, it's worth the money, and I got nothing but good things to say about it here today. I like that it's, you know, 12 plus 1, so you carry 2 mags of that, and for most personal defense situations you might get into, that's going to be plenty. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about it, guys. I mean, it passed my kind of initial torture test of dependability. It's got a lot of great features, looks good, feels good. So if you can stomach the slightly extra price and then the price of putting a nice red dot up on top, I say go for it. I think it's really great. Thanks for watching today. I know this is Precision Rifle Network, but again, if you want any more pistol videos like how-to, like I was a pistol instructor long before I got into precision rifle stuff. Definitely feel like I have something to offer there if anybody's interested, so leave me some comments and let me know. I tried to throw in some tips in this video. Take it, leave it, whatever. You can leave me some comments, and I'm sure some of them will be hateful because they always are. That's why I love you guys. I love responding to the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for another great video from Precision Rifle Network.